Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ReviewTheEarth.com. Just going to kind of scroll through the news here and see what we got. I'm going to skip that part. That is my Twitter feed, which you can click on and see if you go to ReviewTheEarth.com. So, just checking the news this morning, haven't really seen anything. So, President Trump is saying, Americans do what we do best. We pull together. We join hands. We lock arms. Through the tears and the sadness, we stand strong. And I think this one was from last night. May God be with the people of Sutherland Springs, Texas. The FBI and law enforcement are on the scene and monitoring the situation from Japan. So obviously you can see more on Trump if you want to. Here's the latest Drudge headlines. Most people probably already seen this, but shooter opens fire during service, stopped only to reload. Dead after chase with police, not from the area. 2-year-old among victims. Pastor's 14-year-old daughter killed. Deadliest shooting at house of worship in USA. Dems renew calls for gun control. That's extremely sad that that's going on immediately. Chelsea Handler and the like. Sad. Trump, may God be with the people of Sutherland Springs. Drudge report. Born in 1896 and still going. I'm not sure what that's referring to. This is Drudge's Twitter feed. Wiener heads to prison. Woo! Homeless explosion on the West Coast pushing cities to the brink. Yeah, well, they're not going to live in Michigan too much. Too cold. I mean, there's people here, but it's seriously cold. Getting colder all the time. Yeah, so. Killer preached atheism. Well, I guess I was wrong about that to my friends. I said immediately that I didn't think it was usually an atheist. Because they, as far as my experience, usually don't do things like this, or I haven't seen them do things like that, but you never know, apparently. Robots fill grocery orders in 5 minutes. Doctors getting rich on urine tests for opioid patients. Interesting. 26 dead, 20 injured. This is ABC News. Texas church shooting, suspect identified. Yeah, I'm sure we all know that by now. Texas shooting, pastor encouraged members to lean on God in last week's sermon. And that's the thing that's being reported, is that the church tapes all of their broadcasts and puts them on to YouTube. So was this going at the time? And, is there going to ever be a tape that surfaces, or is it just going to disappear? I mean, not that I want to watch it, but it's important to make sure that the events, I suppose, happened like they said they did. Definitely never want to watch that, but that's an interesting take on it anyways. Church shooting in rural Texas now among top 5 deadliest gun massacres in history, of course. White House flag at half staff. He's been very smiling. 9-year-old with terminal cancer asked for cards to celebrate last Christmas. That is heartbreaking. It's a great little community. Man who pursued Texas shooter tells GMA there's definitely a lot of love and a lot of care here. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know all the details on that gentleman. I haven't seen any of these clips here. Feel free to check that out. It's on ABC's Twitter feed. I'm going to have to watch that later. It's interesting, though, that he's already on TV talking about this. Maybe. Not sure. The latest. Trump pitches U.S. to Japanese business leaders. 26 killed. Trump calls Texas church shooting act of evil. Of course it is. Commerce head has stake in firm tied to Putin orbit. Brazil stirs Dem party strife as bellwether governor race nears. That was the interesting, now that I'm thinking about it, what did this story, because all of these killings obviously immediately dominate the headlines. Immediately. And this is something that Steve Pieczenik mentioned on a recent video of his. I highly suggest you go watch his videos, especially if you're not a Trump fan. You know, I'm a Trump supporter still at this point. I definitely have my issues with him. But Steve Pieczenik has a mea culpa of sorts. And, oh, I have a comment. I'm not used to seeing this. It says up here that there's one person watching. It looks like there's a comment, but I'm not sure how to. Oh, right here maybe. Oh, morning. How you doing, bud? I'm just learning how to do this live kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm just kind of reading through this. But what was going on before this happened? So anyway, I was talking about Steve Pieczenik. So Steve Pieczenik, go look him up on YouTube. If you're not, you know, especially if you're a watcher, a viewer of mine, and you're not a fan of Trump, check Steve Pieczenik out on YouTube, because he kind of does a mea culpa and kind of says, you know, I supported Trump, but there's some reasons, some things coming out. He's kind of a false flag guy. So it's interesting. I'm not saying that I believe him. I just think it's, you know, real interesting. It's nice to hear people that, you know, have been supportive of Trump, but then, you know, hear their ideas, because at least they tend to be more fair, in my opinion, instead of just mafeels, you know. So, but what was happening before this massacre happened, and what was happening before the massacre happened was massive. You know, I was having a really good day yesterday because I was watching the news and I felt like things were kind of turning around. I made a video yesterday, and then Donna Brazile, and that's what this, you know, Brazile stirs Dem party strife as bellwether governor race nears. She was on these talk shows and stuff either on Saturday or Sunday. I saw them on Sunday, but, you know, spilling the beans on everything about how they rigged the primaries, how she had to bury one of their staffers, Seth Rich, this and that was explosive. Now, where's that gone? Well, that's just gone away. Nobody cares about that anymore because of the shooting. And that goes back to what I was saying with Steve Pieczenik, because Steve Pieczenik says that the Las Vegas massacre doesn't add up at all. And I've done no research on these. I can't hardly stomach to go through there and try to piece all this together. But what it is doing is taking the focus off of other things. And it's interesting. I'm not sure this guy's background, except for that he is apparently an atheist. Anyways, I'm going to move on here. Okay, Ben Affleck, his behavior is goofy, stupid movie, Justice League movie. Trump says Japan's leaders sought relationship. Trump's Japan visit included formalities and fish. You got to have fish in Japan. BBC, Paradise Papers, tax haven secrets of the ultra-rich exposed. Texas shooting, Damian Green, Corbyn defends promoting MP Calvin Hopkins despite reprimand. I don't know a whole lot about British politics, so you have to forgive me on that one. Just kind of scrolling through. 26 people killed in shooting in Sutherland, of course. Sutherland Springs. Everything's Sutherland Springs. Man guilty of murdering adopted daughter. Anyone putting money into tax haven should apologize. Labor leader. Oh, so there's a lot of scuttle going on about that in Britain. Here's Breitbart. I've seen Breitbart on Facebook now that I'm back on there. With some pretty interesting stuff. And this is the other thing I'm not seeing anywhere on here today that I saw yesterday evening. And that is the fact that Jeff Sessions recused himself of Uranium One probe. That's something that my friend who was just in here would have been interested in. But he recused himself of the Uranium One probe. And that's insane to me. That's absolutely nuts to me. You're the Attorney General working under the President and you recuse yourself. It's absolutely nuts. CBS church shooting. And that's actually the thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, and maybe I should punch that up real quick. Right. Bart. I can't ever remember. I before E, except after C, right? Okay, Breitbart. Flip over here and see. Man, open fire pastor Sessions. Where's the Sessions goods? Because it was a Breitbart article. Can I search on here? I'm not used to going to the site of Breitbart, but yeah, search Sessions. Because it was a Breitbart article. Sorry about that beeping. I'm sitting in my car right now at the gym. Type in Sessions, that's what comes up, huh? Oh well, I have to look it up, but apparently, this is the part. Okay, Congressman says this is it. This is 3 days ago. Okay, so this is 3 days ago, and it's not. It says Congressman says Jeff Sessions has recused himself on Uranium One deal. Attorney General Jeff Sessions told a small group of lawmakers in late September that he was recused from appointing a special counsel to look into the potential corruption surrounding Uranium One deal and the Fusion GPS's work on the Trump dossier, according to at least one lawmaker present, which I vehemently disagreed with at the time. I did not think he had to recuse himself. I remember doing a video with a buddy of mine on a stream, who left me a comment yesterday. So if you're watching, MC, this was going back quite a ways, but I was very concerned about the, Sessions recusing himself, and I didn't believe he had to do that, and I was very concerned at Rosenstein's appointment of Mueller, and thinking that it was just going to go on forever, which it looks like it's going to do now. And now, if this is true, if Sessions recuses himself on Uranium One, why? Because the country of Russia is mentioned in there somewhere. That's total BS. That's wrong. So Representative Matt Gaetz told Breitbart News on Wednesday, Republican from Florida, told Breitbart News on Wednesday that he and other House Judiciary Committee Republicans had met with Sessions at the Justice Department on September 28th in advance of an upcoming committee hearing with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein later this month. Not a big fan of that fella. Gaetz said that when he asked Sessions to appoint a special counsel to investigate the 2010 Uranium One deal and Fusion GPS, the Attorney General stood up, said he could not discuss the matter because he had recused himself, and walked out of the room, them with a group of Rosenstein staffers who showed no interest. He said that anything that had to do with the 2016 election or Russia or the candidates in the election fell under the scopes of his recusal, and he had left the room. What a joke. That's insane. That seems insane. MC, you're going to have to talk me off the edge on this one, buddy. If you're out there, I hope you are. It was Sessions' position that his recusal on Russia matter divorced him from any oversight on the Uranium One and Fusion GPS. That's troubling. Sessions' recusal is a function of his involvement in the Trump campaign, and in no world does that impact his judgment as it relates to Fusion GPS and Uranium One, but he views the recusal more broadly. That's troubling because that puts Rosenstein in charge, he said. Gaetz said Rosenstein's staffers provided no answers and no timeline for answers. Wonderful. Wonderful. This is great news. And I always thought Jeff Sessions was a real good guy. He seemed to be. I think he's a good man. Let me rephrase that. I think he's a good guy, good man. I do not agree with his stance on eminent domain and things like that, but MC was able to talk me down from that one because he was saying, well, that's really a function of the law. He doesn't write the law. So I agreed on that. I mean, I don't agree with his viewpoint on it, but I agree that that is the law, and the law needs to change. I don't agree with his, wanting to continue the war on drugs, that sort of thing. Not a big fan. But I liked Sessions. I liked some of the stuff he had to say, but it's time to go. It's time to get fired or step down. Why don't you recuse yourself out of the AG, Sessions? Not real happy with you this morning and last night, and lately for that matter, and neither is the president. So you're putting him in a position where he's going to have to get rid of you too if you don't step down. And what's the right thing to do for the country? America first, Sessions? It might be to step down. MC, I really need you on this one if you're out there. It must be very frustrating for the president that the Department of Justice is overreacting to fictitious allegations and subsequently paralyzed to truly vet incursions into our nuclear assets, he said. quote, Attorney General Sessions does not believe he has the power to appoint a special counsel on this matter. What a joke. Other House members present at the meeting were Chairman Bob Goodlatte, Goodlate, Republican Virginia, and Representative Jim Jordan, Republican Ohio, Ron DeSantis, Republican Florida, and Louis Gohmert, Republican Texas. Justice Department spoke with Sarah Isgur Flores. Justice Department spokeswoman, Sarah Isgur Flores. Wow, there's some funny names in here. Sorry about me butchering them all up, but said others in the room do not remember Sessions saying anything like that, and the subject was discussed. Quote, discussed. She would not comment on whether Sessions has recused himself. I've talked to people who were in the room, quote, I've talked to people who were in the room, and they don't remember him saying anything like this. The subject was discussed, so maybe someone misconstrued what he said. I can't comment on the recusal issues, though, because to do so would confirm or deny the existence of the investigation, she said in a statement to Breitbart News. Republican pressure is mounting on the Justice Department to appoint a special counsel to look into the 2010 Uranium One deal and potential corruption surrounding the deal involving then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and the Clinton Foundation. The Hill reported last month that the FBI had gathered evidence of widespread Russian bribery and a kickback scheme to grow Moscow's nuclear energy business inside the U.S. The same time the deal. That's worded funny, I think. Which allowed Russian firm Rosatom to purchase 1/5 of uranium assets. Was allowed to go through. Maybe that's just me reading it funny. Inside the U.S. firm at the same time, the deal was allowed to go through. The deal, which was allowed to... Okay, yeah. Lawmakers say that they were not informed of the FBI's probe at the time, which they say would have stopped the deal from going forward. Sessions' recusal could mean that any decision to appoint a special counsel would fall to Rosenstein. Of course it would. Because he's the one that's putting swamp creatures in charge. It's insane. Last week, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican Iowa, expressed frustration with Sessions and perhaps Rosenstein calling on whoever was not recused at the Justice Department to call for a special counsel. Quote, whoever in the Department of Justice is capable with authority to appoint a special counsel should do so to investigate Uranium One. Whoever means if you weren't recused, he tweeted. Sessions has so far refused to confirm publicly whether he was recused himself, or whether he has recused. Sessions has so far refused to confirm publicly whether he has recused himself from the Uranium One case. When asked by the radio show host Hugh Hewitt last week if he was recused, he responded, well, of course, there was one case that's already been prosecuted and people may have been sentenced on, but as to what may happen after that, if anything, I'm not able to comment. What a joke, dude. When asked if he was recused from any investigation in the Clinton investigation, he responded yes. When asked if he was recused from any investigations in the Clinton, he responded yes. Good Lord. Gates said he was heartened by the White House Chief of Staff John Kelly call for a special counsel to look into the Uranium One deal during a Fox News interview Monday, and he has his fellow Republicans on the Judiciary Committee plan to press Sessions and Rosenstein during the upcoming hearing on the need for one. Quote, my expectation is that there will be very tough questions asked about why we have not pursued Uranium One scandal with the same vigor that we've pursued Trump-Russia allegations that so far have proven unfounded, he said. Unbelievable, guys. This is unbelievable. Terrible. He said Mueller cannot lead any investigation into Uranium One since he led the FBI at the time of its investigation into the bribery scheme, and at the time the Uranium One deal went through. The FBI also also reportedly threatened a witness from talking to members of Congress about what he knew. Quote, Mueller was not a spectator to the transactions that now give us grave concern about our uranium assets, he said. Wow. So, yeah, totally need MC on this one, bud. If you're out there, I definitely need to hear your opinion on this matter, as, yeah, it's pretty wild. I was just looking to see if I can tell who's here. Oops. Looking to see if I can tell who's here. There's somebody watching. I can see if you chat, but I'm kind of new to this program. Oh, I got a little heart there. I don't know what all this means exactly, but I haven't used this technology on this new phone, but it's cool, so you can tell I could do this. I probably should have started it in landscape, and I'm probably not going to read too much more news. I might slide over here to Drudge for a second and see how that's been updated before I sign off here. Texas church massacre, court-martialed for assault on spouse, child, opens fire during service, full combat gear. Sick Facebook rants. 5-year-old among victims. I heard a 2-year-old was among victims. Pastor's daughter killed. Maybe it was a 5-year-old instead of a 2-year-old, as information's come out. A post office, no traffic light, and now a mass murder. Jeez. Neighbor got rifle, shot at gunman. Hero describes how he tracked him down. Yeah, I want to hear that story. I haven't heard that yet. Dems recall, renew calls for gun control. Of course, it's what they do. Seemingly every time. Killer preached atheism, Air Force reject. Yeah, he looks like a total sack of excrement. So yeah, the Prince Alawid arrested in Arabia. That's going down right now. NFL continues to suffer massive numbers. Yeah, the Lions are on tonight. I'm probably not even going to watch them. I tried to watch last week, and it was a total train wreck, so I'm not even sure what the point is anymore. Pretty disgusted with all of that. Huge Lions fan, too. If you've seen all my stuff, I would do broadcasts in my Barry Sanders jersey and all that, and I'm pretty much disgusted with it right now. Mueller has enough evidence to charge Flynn. That's interesting. Special counsel braces for challenges to authority at York, spinning in circles on the dossier. Well, I want to know what's up with this Flynn thing. I don't think we've ever got to the bottom of the Flynn thing. So I'm very interested in seeing, the Flynn thing. Looks like Gabby Gifford rising, perhaps. I'm assuming that's who that is. Gabbard. When I first saw that, I don't recall what she looks like exactly, but that's not her, though. I'm sorry about that. That's not Gabby Gifford. Gabbard. So that's charismatic, unorthodox. So ignore that. That's a mistake. So millions leaked files shine light on where the elite hide their money, which is seemingly what must be going on in Britain. That's what people are outraged over. And then SNL, total meltdown. Horrible. SNL's the worst at this point. Just a totally lost cause and gone. There's no point in watching it anymore. All it is hatred towards the right in general. And it's just brainwashing at this point. There's nothing funny about it at all. 40 tourists robbed in Paris hotel. Tear gas attack. All the Spacey men. Spacey continues to fall. Wiener heads to prison. Yeah, so just combing the news this morning, and I figured I'd do it in live time with this cool thing, since I sometimes do this anyways. So Rand Paul, that's the other big news item. Rand Paul assaulted at his Kentucky home, tackled from behind while mowing the lawn, 5 broken ribs. It was his neighbor, turns out, so I don't know. And I guess they do have very different political views. He's a hard leftist, sounds like. I read an article where he invented some kind of, you ever seen one of those neck roll things that you heat up in the microwave and they're full of rice and they relax you, supposedly? He invented some kind of vest that does the same thing. So he's an inventor and an anesthesiologist, apparently. So he's a doctor, lives in Rand Paul's neighborhood, and tackled him while mowing the lawn, broke 5 of his ribs. Rand Paul's in a lot of pain. He's going to have trouble getting back to work for a minute, sounds like, which is awful. And of course, I'm gonna probably end up ending on this, but Republicans quietly revise tax bill to increase rates over time. Of course they're going to do that because they're half scum. Especially the leadership, as Mr. Ryan is photographed right there. He's horrible. He's completely awful. These Rhino Republicans are the worst, and it's really disturbing. I mean, no, they're not the worst. Let me rephrase that. The Democrats are definitely the worst. All this Donna Brazile, Deborah Wasserman Schultz, Hillary Clinton, all of that nonsense at the DNC, and all of their rhetoric and their race baiting and everything that they're up to is awful. But the Republicans are close behind the elite Republicans, we'll call them, not the Freedom Caucus types, not the Rand Paul types, but these Paul Ryan types are just the worst. They're backstabbers. So it's like, at least the Democrats wear themselves on their sleeves. I don't agree with almost anything that they say most of the time because it just is mostly garbage. But at least they tell you what they believe in. These Republicans are snakes in the grass. The elite Republicans, I should say, the blue blood Republicans, are snakes in the grass. They're screwing us even worse because they're they're blocking everything that could be being done that's positive. So everything, the Democrats, they're not going to go along with anything. But the Republicans are just a thorn in our side. The elite Republicans are just a thorn on our side right now. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's going a bit long, but that's good. I'm trying to get back in the flow of things. I probably should have kicked this video on its side because it would have been cool to see it like that. I forgot to do that when I started, so I'll try that. It looks better for me when I'm scrolling through. It's easier to use than kicking it on the side. But for you viewers at home, it's probably easier to see when it's kicked on the side. It gives you a nice widescreen view. So I am Clint Cox from Review the Earth. Please check out reviewtheearth.com. If you've watched this long, please check out my Twitter, which is @ReviewTheEarth. I'm now back on Facebook, so you can find me there, Clinton R. Cox on Facebook. My page, Review the Earth, is on there too, so I have a separate page. I don't try to get too political on Facebook anymore, besides commenting on people's posts, because I don't know how to do that as Review the Earth, because I've already got kicked out for having a fake name. So, or not a fake name, but I changed it one time. I've gone through that story before. My name on there was Clinton R. Cox forever. Actually, now it's just Clinton Cox because they made me change it for some reason. Couldn't even put my actual real name back on there, but anyway, I digress. Facebook is a hellhole, but if you are into Facebook, there is some interesting stuff on there sometimes, and I do try to post to my Review the Earth page. Again, I just started, so I just restarted on there, but I'm on there anyways. So those are many different ways to get a hold of me, if you have any news tips, etc. So, and Review the Earth 1776 @gmail.com for news tips. Can't really think of much else. This is everything that's going on this morning right now as you're seeing it unfold. So always check Drudge Report. It's kind of my favorite site to check. And of course, now that I've got my website, that's also my favorite spot to check because it doesn't just go to Drudge, but it splatters a bunch of stuff in there. And I will be further developing the website. So I hope everybody has a great day. And God bless and pray for Texas. All right. See you.